Hey everybody, this is Mr. Schultz here, and we're just taking a look at 711. So basically, the big thing is that we're going to look at cyclical models here. And this lesson in this video is going to be really short because it's one of these types of things. So let's take a look at what these types of things are. So 7-1 is a nurse needing to rush to the hospital with one hand on her clipboard, the other hand pulling a portable blood stand. The bags of blood swing from the stand and are needed in emergency room stat for three patients in severe need. Da, 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 more and more and more writing. You'll see more and more of these story problems as you keep going in this book. And the key thing here is that she notices that when she looks down the corridor, she sees a trail of blood that dripped down and notices it forms a very interesting pattern. Because of course that's what we do in the emergency room. So this would be her, the blood would be dripping, and then what's supposed to happen here is that you're supposed to set up and do a class thing with it and kind of map out all of these different like patterns, but obviously you're doing this by yourself, so that's not necessarily a thing you can do. So we just have to think about this. What shape do you think the trail of blood will create? So as she walks down this way and is kind of going faster, hanging from the string, I'd kind of expect it to kind of like swing kind of back and forth a bit. So the pattern that I would expect to see on the floor would be probably something kind of like this as she goes down the hallway. Just as it kind of swings back and swings forth. Just kind of going whoop and then back and forth and kind of going through this kind of cycle here, which is the key thing here. So let's see what's up next. All right, so that's basically everything there. So, you go through, you're supposed to have a bunch of classmates go and do this and then compare all of your different findings. But spoiler, alert, this is what you'll find is that when you do this, you get a lot of patterns. And they look at this. If we were to turn it into kind of an XY axis, it would start to kind of look like that, where it's that kind of cyclical thing that's going up and down, back and forth, kind of following this type of emotion as it's going through. And so that's kind of the key thing. So then 7-2 we'll look at next here. Okay, so 7-2 is another one you can just really think through. There isn't a lot to really like kind of write down or talk about, like just it's trying to get you to think about like how do you want this thing to look? How tall do you want this curve to be when you're kind of graphing it? Like just like how high should it be going? It's just kind of talking about some of those things of like, hey, like how much would the bag swing? How long would each of these cycles be? Does it swing slowly like that? Does it swing quickly like that? So that's really all that's kind of being talked about. It's just kind of getting you used to this cycle style thing. Is it these long cycles or are they just kind of your typical cycle like that? So that's pretty much everything there. There is your lesson for this. Let's take a look at the closure quick. So closure just talks about do any of the functions. So anything, when you think about a function, is it a line? Is it a parabola? Is it an exponential? All that type of stuff. Do any functions they're already familiar with fit this situation? I will give you a hint here. Things that might jump out to you. Sine of x looks like that. Cosine of x would need to be modified a little bit. Cosine would start from the top and go down, but you'll see more of those details as you keep going. Those are the kind of key things here. So that's really what you're going to end up focusing on is just kind of using these sine and cosine functions and kind of what their graphs will look like and things like that. And that should be everything. Hopefully it's a nice and short one for you. Check out the review and preview.